Okay, so Daily Herald here in Phillipsburg, in the shopping district, where a series of gold chain snatchings and other crimes carried out against tourists have taken place, which has prompted Duncan to propose an initiative to punish the culprits of crimes carried out against tourists harsher than those carried out against St. Martiners. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk around, we're going to find some people, we're going to see how they feel about it and if it's fair.
Discriminating in this country, before it's not like that. But now I don't understand what happened in the country. Right? This St. Martin, all over the world, have a problem. But St. Martin, too small country to have a problem like that. Because when tourists come in St. Martin, dependent tourists. If tourists don't come in St. Martin finish. But what I have to say, the government have to take on control in that, to put police and control the tourists when tourists come in the country, in the front street and the back street, to police give him help to come and work in the country, to do what he have to do in the country. Because if tourists don't come in St. Martin finish completely, economy finish. Right. So you have to try to do something to help the tourists, give some security to come in St. Martin. Because everybody have to have opportunity. Everybody have to be important because everybody is the same. When you say you rob the tourists, you rob the people, local people, that's the same thing. That's the same thing, you rob me, you rob the tourists, that's the same thing. Police have to take on control in that. The local people, you work hard to get something, tourist people come in. When you come in, you close the door, you're going out. When you come back, thief come in, you open your door, you take everything you have. When police take them, put them in prison, 2-3 months coming out, you go do the same thing again. That's not good.
Well, I feel like everybody should have the same equal justice in the sense of everybody should have the same penalty. Whether tourist or local, everybody should have the same penalty. That's what I feel it should be.
Okay,
equal.
Now what their argument is that, or one of the arguments is that if you carry out a crime against a tourist, you carry out a crime against the whole economy.
Sure, because by the tourists, St. Martin people live by the tourists. That is the only culture that they have by tourism. Okay. So I feel that they should have the same penalty like everybody else also too.
So what you're proposing is have harsher penalties for everybody.
For everybody.
Okay.
Everybody.
How about that?
I feel like they should step up the bricks more when it comes to the tourists, because without the tourists, the island will go down, and they should step up the bricks and
okay. So what you're saying is that in order to protect the economy, because the island depends on the tourist economy, it would be a good idea to go ahead and impose.
That's the point. That's the point right there. That's what it should do.
Okay, and how would you respond to the point of view of that it's not fair that if you carry out a crime against me who lives here, coming from a local, and a crime against a tourist, that a tourist is penalized more? I mean, how do you see that?
It's not that. Then right there is not right.
It's not right. So, So should there be stricter penalty on tourists, or should it all be the same? I mean, give me.
It should be more on the tourists.
More for the tourists.
More for the tourists, yeah.
Because that would be.
We work here. Tourists bring money into the island, so it should be more for the tourists, Pay more attention to them, and when it comes that they get robbed or whatever, help them out a little more.
There we go. Okay, so we're here with Kevin, Taxi 19, here to talk about whether you think it's a good idea to go ahead and impose stricter penalties on crimes against tourists than it is local.
Where I'm concerned, tourism being our main industry, I should think is a product that we should take care of and value. And if people are still committing crimes against tourists, I think it makes sense making stiffer penalties.
Okay, and as far as the argument that, the life of a St. Martiner, quote unquote, the life of a St. Martiner is less important than a tourist if this law passes, I mean, do you think how do you feel about that?
Well, like I said, we got to look at it, tourism is our main industry, and if we don't protect it, we'll lose it, and then we have nothing else to survive on. So even us being important, we wouldn't be nothing without the tourism.
Okay, so we're here with the owner of Rafi's Barbershop, located on Carnegie Street, and just trying to get a take on if you think it's a good idea to impose harsher penalties on crimes that are against tourists. Yes, no, why or why not?
I think the government has to work for everybody, for every country. Everybody is same thing. The government, the country is same thing. Everybody is one in St. Martin. Everybody has to work for St. Martin.
Okay, so I'm here with a visitor from North Carolina. Her name is Barbara. and just trying to get what they're trying to do is implement harsher penalties against crimes that are carried out on tourists. And would that make you feel safer? Have you seen that before in your travels? I mean, give us a little bit of insight.
I have seen it when I was in Europe, and I felt very safe because I knew that if anything happened to me, they would take care of it. I'm sure the same thing would be here, that if anything would happen to the tourists, because let's face it, that's your trade. And I think it's a good idea.
Right.
Because if you do the harsher crimes for tourists, it's going to feed back to the local people. And it's going to be protecting them the same as it would be protecting anyone that came to visit.
Right. So what you're saying is that by protecting you guys and having you guys feel safer, the visitors who come here and you know, spend money here, that it would be protecting everybody.
I think so, because then people would know that if anything happened, whether it's a visitor or a local, there's going to be harsh penalties. Okay, so it starts out harsher for the ones against the tourists, but it's going to filter down. It has to, and make everybody feel safer. Okay.
Now, what if something like that was brought into North Carolina? Now, you said earlier before taping that you have a lot of the only tourists that you guys see is usually for NASCAR, which is racing events, yes, for the Panthers games, and stuff like that. Now, would that make you feel like things are unfair if one of those visitors from another state were to come over and receive a harsher a crime against them would be treated a little bit differently, putting them before you?
I don't think it would make me feel bad about it, because here again, if they're going to protect them, it's going to help me. I mean, Charlotte and the surrounding area is like 1 million people, and so if we have stricter rules for the tourists that are there to protect them, it has to filter down. And no, I wouldn't have a problem. No, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
But it's a good idea, because you cannot rob a tourist and then get away with murder. Because tourists can't spend $1 at the island to help the island. I help everybody. And you cannot attack a tourist just like that. Take a deck around you, take your watch, take your money, and when you're done, you beat him up, put him in the hospital, and then nobody don't care. So you gotta protect the tourists them. You gotta put more police on the road to protect the tourists them. Because without them, we know where we're going.